the Bears 7-0. Wayne Larrivee on the call. Wayne is brought to you today by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more by visiting steam601.org and by National Fire Sprinklers Association. Visit them at nfsa.org. Wayne, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good. Looking forward to the weekend.
I know. I'm looking at the injury report for the Niners, and I've dubbed it a can't-lose game. Not a won't-lose game, but a can't-lose game, as in if Purdy can't go and you are facing Brandon, what's his last name again?
Allen?
Brandon Allen, a 8-year journeyman scrub, to be fair, a journeyman. How about that? A hardworking, handsome, earnest journeyman who's started 9 games. You're playing against him, and you're coming off a game in which you played a C- game but escaped because of a blocked field goal. You're facing a team that's knocked you out of the playoffs the last 3 times. That's why, Wayne, I call it a can't lose. It doesn't mean they won't or it's impossible. It just means you better win that game. And yet, you've got Kyle Shanahan, who is very, very good. He has beaten Matt with 8 Garoppolo throws. He has beaten Matt with a one-armed Jimmy G and no running backs in the playoffs. I respect Kyle Shanahan and what he can do.
Oh, no doubt.
I
forgot
how do you see
about
this
that.
matchup?
I forgot about some of those situations that Shanahan overcame. You're right. And for the Packers, 2 things. Number 1, it keeps them in the race heading toward the playoffs if they win. Number 2, if the Packers win, the 49ers are now 5-6. I still think the San Francisco 49ers are the last team anybody wants to see in January. So this would go a long way to knocking them out.
Right. There's urgency. There is strategic importance to this game. There is the bounce back factor where I believe teams that know they played a bad game usually practice harder and sharper and come out better the following week, especially well-coached teams. And I do think the Packers are well-coached by LaFleur. So all indicators point their direction. But as I pointed out earlier this morning, Wayne, they've lost to Tommy Cutlets. They've lost to who else was Zach Wilson with the Jets. They almost lost to Bryce Young. They almost lost to Bailey Zappi. Like, there's no guarantees in the NFL. So if it is Brandon Allen, they've got to be ready.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with you, and it won't be easy any way you look at it. Christian McCaffrey is back playing. I've seen his last 2 games. He looks like he's taking that step to becoming dominant again. They still have great weapons out there. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle is expected back this week. I know he's not 100%, but who is 100% at this time of the year in the NFL? So there's some weapons here. They're still very good defensively. And the big injury factor for them, aside from the quarterback, and I think the quarterback will play, is Nick Bosa, and he may not play. And that makes a huge difference in their defense, guys. Seattle scored like 3 points in that game last weekend with Bosa on the field. They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter when Bosa couldn't play. So that's a real big factor in this game, whether Bosa goes or not.
Wayne, when you look at the game Sunday, obviously there's a lot of things going in the Packers' favor. That being said, this is still the 49ers, and what they offer is a run game with McCaffrey back. When you look at that, is that your biggest key for this game, is how the Packers defend the run game, or what else is it?
Well, I guess the run game comes under this umbrella, but I think the biggest key for the game, anytime you go into a game with the San Francisco 49ers, especially if you're the Green Bay Packers, you must answer the physicality of the 49ers overall in all 3 phases of the game. They are a very physical team. They come in, they expect to win that aspect of the game, and it goes a long way in the running game when they do. So, yes, I think the first thing the Packers have to do is play a physical football game, and I think they're in better shape to do that than they have been in recent years. Green Bay is slowly but surely, and you see it in their running game, becoming a physical football team, a very physical football team. Jacobs is that guy who can bring it. He kind of shows you that in the running game. McCaffrey in the San Francisco running game, the same thing. And I think that this is what we're going to see on Sunday, 2 very physical football teams out there.
you've got this group, this Packer team, right? You look at how they're built. Josh Jacobs, wide receivers, tight ends, they've all elevated. Who is going to take the biggest step over the close or to finish out this season? And we're going to be talking about him saying, hey, this is the guy that's really elevated his play over the last couple of weeks.
I think there are two people who can really do that. Dontavian Wicks on the offensive side of the football, number one, and number two, Carrington Valentine, who's probably going to play a lot down the stretch, number two. Carrington's gotten off to kind of a slow start in his sophomore season, played very well as a rookie, but, he's had some hamstring injuries, that kind of thing. He's going to get a shot to really start and play a major role in this defense down the stretch with Jair Alexander's knee injury. So I think those two players, and Wicks is the guy. If you go to practice and watch the Packers in practice, Wicks is the guy they can't cover. What he has to do is put it together in a game, get that confidence back, leads the world in drops, needs to catch the football. And if he does, he's going to get open. So, and Jordan Love's going to find him. He's the one guy who can elevate. Christian Watson did that last week. I think Wicks has a chance to do it this week.
Yeah, let's talk snap counts for a second. This is something that we fans get in the weeds about. And more importantly, let's talk about rotations of wide receivers. Matt likes to rotate a lot of his guys in and out based on personnel packages. There is some frustration by fans, Wayne, that a guy like Watson, who makes a big play to get him down first and goal at the 5, is suddenly off the field then for the next 2 plays. They're like, what are you doing here? Now, I trust that Matt knows what he's doing, but I'm kind of the mindset of, I want to start pressing more Christian Watson, the button more on him, and really have him emerge as the guy that gets the most snaps every game, because I think he can do it all. Do you have any insight or thoughts about how Matt rotates in wide receivers? Because he's got a lot of guys.
Yeah, he's got a lot of guys, but I would be hesitant to say he will continue to rotate as much as he does. Because I think that what they found last week was that they got Christian Watson going, and they need to keep him going. He's the one guy who can blow the top off of any defense in the NFL. Right. And I think that they found his level last week. They found his role, and now they will continue to grow on that. And you're exactly right. He's the guy who blows the top off the defense. But unlike a guy like, for example, MVS, who had the same kind of speed and dimension to his game that Christian has, Christian can run every route on the tree, okay? So he can do the dirty stuff inside. He can do the quick hitches and the short stuff and that kind of thing and explode from there. I think he's going to be on the field more. Like I said, I think they'll try to get Wicks on track a little bit. They've got Romeo Doubs. You can't forget about Jaden Reed. And Tucker Kraft has to be targeted more than twice in a game. That's for sure.
For the record, Watson had 31 snaps of the 46 offensive plays. Remember, they were very light on plays last week because of time of possession. Doubs had a few more, 36 to his 31. Reed, 26, and Wicks, 16. We'll see how the snap counts shake out this week. On defense, boy, would it be a good week to get Rashawn Gary or Lucas Van Ness or both guys going, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Lucas has – had a very quiet year, and hopefully he can get going. Up front, Kenny Clark, they're going to have their hands full. That's still a very good San Francisco offensive line. Trent Williams, if I was Jeff Hafley, I don't know what his game plan will be. It wouldn't surprise me to see him move his defensive ends left and right, back and forth in different plays and that type of thing. Dontavian Wicks on the interior has to make a play or two, I think, in this game. They've got to be sound, though, first off. We're talking so much about defensive ends and edge rushers and pass rush, and that's important. But the first thing they've got to do is, like I said, answer the physicality. And what does that mean? Well, that means stopping the run. You can't let George Kittle get off. And they did a good job in the playoff game last January for the first half or 3/4 of the game. And then, George Kittle started to break through, had a big 20-something yard run for a touchdown, that kind of thing. But there are two people that really worry me in this game. And, obviously, when you look at the running game, that's McCaffrey. But the other guy, and I don't know how healthy he'll be coming into this game, I would imagine pretty healthy, George Kittle. At some point, at some stage of the game, he is going to break your back.
Yeah. Yeah, you cannot have him break free on a 50-yarder where you're like, okay, we got him contained. Wait, who is going to tackle him? Oh, no, he's still running. What are we doing here? Because that is the kind of thing you can do. Let's talk about I wanted to switch gears here and talk about, well, I was going to add on the defensive front. Someone pointed out that because Preston Smith is now gone, Rashawn Gary is getting more looks rushing on the right side, which is not typical for him. Do you think that's perhaps a factor where he's still feeling that out in terms of what he does? Because that was Preston's spot for a long time.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I didn't think about that, to be honest with you, when I saw them move him to the other side. I just thought they were trying to change things up, get a better matchup, that kind of thing. That's a better question for Jeff Hafley. But, the other thing, Brenton Cox is going to get some more snaps out there. And he made some plays when plays were there to be made. I understand. They didn't block him on a running play. Okay, well, you still have to go in and make the play. Go in and make the hit for 3-yard loss, and he did. Got a sack in the game as well. So I think they're going to mix some more people in there and, try to create some pressure with that pass rush. Purdy, it'll be interesting to see because the biggest thing that jumps out to me off the tape I'm watching is Brock Purdy this year is an absolute factor with his legs. I mean, he's running the football. 59 rushing attempts. He's got 240-some yards rushing. He's like their second leading rusher right now. And this is the most he's run in his entire career. Now, part of that dancing with the devil is you get banged up eventually. The devil does take his toll. But, and he's got that shoulder injury. I don't know how much they'll move him around. I think he'll start. How much will they let him run remains to be seen.
Wayne, how big of an impact does Robert Saleh have? We heard about, him injecting the Christian Watson play. Now, this week also, he knows San Fran pretty good, and we know Matt's had his struggles there. Just another guy that understands San Fran, what he does. How important do you think him being involved has really helped this team over the last couple of weeks?
I think it's really big in this game from the standpoint of how do you attack the San Francisco defense. You've got a lot of new people in that secondary, but they're good people. Boy, I tell you what, that number 6, Malik Mustafa, is a great young safety. He's a 4th-round draft choice this year. He blows people up, especially when he's coming in from center field, and he's just like a dart. He's like a shot out of a cannon. They've got, I think where Saleh can help them out. And again, it's what? They're on their second defense coordinator since Saleh. So there's some differences there. But when you talk about personnel and that type of thing, I think Saleh makes a big difference in terms of being able to craft a plan for how you navigate against that defense. But that defense isn't quite what it was last year. They're not playing that well. They were playing tremendous football last year. I think the loss of Dre Greenlaw is huge in the middle of that defense. He's been replaced by Devondre Campbell. Devondre Campbell's on the back end of his career. People are able to burn him on plays, and I think the Packers will look in that direction.
Speaking of Saleh, he reportedly suggested a concept to LaFleur on the play that sprung Christian Watson for the big 25-yard completion last week. So he's chipping in, even on offense, which is
all you need. A few chips here and there.
There you go. Exit question. Butchie's going to play golf in 43-degree weather at Greenbrier and pay $300 for the privilege. Is he making the right call? You have the final say, Wayne.
At the Greenbrier.
At the Greenbrier.
Correct.
43, partly sunny. Who knows about the wind? It just snowed there yesterday. It's melted. Fairway's going to be sopping wet.
Gone.
Cart path only. Good call, bad call. Wayne Larrivee, you make the call.
I'm going. I'm playing. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Oh, no doubt. Hey, I'd play today if I didn't have a game tonight. So, No, anytime you get a chance to swing the clubs, you've got to do it. Although, Butchie, I told you, do not get into golf. Do not let it rule your life like Czabe and I have. We're not better people for it.
That's the thing. Like you get a chance to play a top 150 course, you're playing it.
You play it. You rain or shine, you're playing.
It's not that hard.
Okay. We were standing we were at Turnberry in Scotland years ago, and it was with a group of us, and it's pouring rain. It's raining sideways, and we're on the 3rd hole of par 3, and we're about to tee off. And I turned to everybody and said, "This is what we came 3,000 miles for: the wind, the rain, the Scottish course." I mean, that's
the elements.
I mean, but Czabe, you've never done that. You've never golfed in that, have you?
Oh, I have. Yeah, but on a golf trip to Ireland or Scotland, yes.
Yeah.
Not to checks notes. West
The Greenbrier
Virginia.
is one of my bucket list places. I want to go there.
It's
You need a bigger
beautiful.
bucket.
You should. It's
Wayne,
it's been a good trip.
As always, Wayne, a pleasure, my friend. Don't forget, Wayne has a new podcast out with Matt LePay. The Larrivee and LePay podcast is ready for your consumption. You guys talked to Andy Katz from the